So as we have plenty of participants joining us online, we will actually slowly start, but for you that are still in the line to get your name tag, don't worry, take your time, leave the jacket in the wardrobe and come and take a seat. In the meantime, I would like to say a warm welcome on behalf of EPFL Innovation Park and from Groupe Mutuel for all of you for being here today to celebrate the closing of the second batch of Tech4Eva. It was around 9 months ago that we were standing here last time. So 9 months, just the length of a pregnancy. And now we're here back again to celebrate the birth of this end of the second batch. So my name, here as you can see on the slide, I'm Anna, and here is of course Johannes. And we will be your guides throughout the afternoon, accompanying you really be here to take us through the day. And with that, I would like to hand over to you, Johannes.
Yeah, thank you very much, Anna, for this introduction. Today we convene a lot of different people, innovators, of course, startups, but also industry leaders, experts, coaches, mentors from different programs and from all around the world in different industries. The goal for that is really to gather all people together and celebrate women's health. So we have a great program ahead with amazing speakers, panelists, and of course 28 femtech startups. And you will have the chance to hear also the pitches from the 14 growth stage startups who will be here today. So, of course, you are here in the room, but also online in Zoom. So for those who are online, I invite all of you to turn on the camera so we can have an idea of who you are. So don't hesitate to do so, just 1 minute, so just to make sure that you are here. Okay, perfect, we can see you, perfect. Hello, everyone. Thanks to all of you. You are more than 400 who registered for this event today with us.
So we have a very packed program that we are really proud of. And to kickstart that, I would like to welcome up on stage my colleague Lan Zuogile from the EPFL Innovation Park that also will give a little bit of welcome remarks. So please, Lan, come up on stage and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Anna. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this fourth Tech4Eva conference. It's my great pleasure to welcome you here to many similar familiar faces. And special greeting to our colleagues in the management of Groupe Mutuel, who that is our co-founding partner of this initiative. And also special greeting to the representative or our partners, and also to all those who have been supporting us, contributing to Tech4Eva for the last 2 years. So 2 years ago, when we launched this Tech4Eva initiative, we have the mission to raise the awareness about the importance of women's health. And we discussed the problems of lack of attention, lack of R&D fundings, and lack of VC investment to the technology that could improve women's health. We have been working very hard to, first of all, help the startups in our cohort to accelerate their business development and also to have visibility to reach out to investors. But we are also working very hard to get our voice to be heard internationally so that we can raise further attention. So starting from this year, we are getting invited by numerous international conferences and events to present our initiative, to explain our program, and to give our vision of Tech4Eva. And through our international roadshow, we have get on board quite a lot of people interested in our cause, men as well as women. So with the growing community and also with the international recognition as one of the thought leader of femtech, we would like to go a step further. We see our mission expanding from startup accelerator to a platform that we can meet, that universities and companies as well as startups can meet and to brainstorm together and to develop new solutions. So in this context, we feel that there are two very important topics that could push the femtech a step further. How to take into consideration the difference between men and a woman, the biology, into the development of medical care. So how to develop very personalized care to help the health. So this question is extremely important. And the next one is how to integrate femtech into the workplace, how to support women at workplace to develop their career and also to ease their professional life. The answer for the first question is could potentially reveal some opportunity to develop new solutions that can take into account unbiased scientific evidence. Actually, research group at the University of Lausanne and Zurich, they have already working on this, and we would like to invite them to come to that platform as experts. And the second question is as well very important because in the company life, we need to consider women's career, and by working on these questions, it allows us to seek a synergy with associations and groups of people that work for the women's cause. It also gives us some opportunities to open a dialogue with the companies that could be keen to consider and invest in the femtech solutions for their women employees, so later on probably become customers or prescriber of femtech solutions. So today we are very privileged to have university professors and also from industry leaders and also the member of Swiss Innovation Council to come here to share their view and their expertise on these two very important topics, which could mark the future development of Tech4Eva. So I would like to thank all our speakers and moderators in advance and hope you enjoy the conversation.
Thank you very much, Lan, for this introduction word and also showing the importance and the worldwide recognition of this program. We are here also today to bring awareness on how to advance and improve the way that we diagnose and treat health issues by taking into consideration the specificity of gender. So let me introduce you Semira Gonzet-Nusle. She's the CMO of Genomi, a startup that maybe some of you have heard the pitch this morning. She will talk about the future of sex and gender medicine and femtech.
The end of the second batch. So my name, here as you can see on this slide, I'm Anna, and here is of course Johannes, and we will be your guides throughout the afternoon, accompanying you and really be here to take us through the day. And with that, I would like to hand over to you, Johannes.
Yeah, thank you very much, Anna, for this introduction. Today we convene a lot of different people, innovators, of course, startups, but also industry leaders, experts, coaches, mentors from different programs and from all around the world in different industries. The goal for that is really to gather all people together and celebrate women's health. So we have a great program ahead with amazing speakers, panelists, and of course 28 femtech startups. And you will have the chance to hear also the pitches from the 14 growth stage startups who will be here today. So, of course, you are here in the room, but also online in Zoom. So for those who are online, I invite all of you to turn on the camera so we can have an idea of who you are. So don't hesitate to do so, just 1 minute, so just to make sure that you are here. Okay, perfect, we can see you, perfect. Hello, everyone. Thanks to all of you. You are more than 400 who registered for this event today with us.
So we have a very packed program that we are really proud of. And to kickstart that, I would like to welcome up on stage my colleague Lan Zuogile from the EPFL Innovation Park that also will give a little bit of welcome remarks. So please, Lan, come up on stage and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Anna. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this fourth Tech4Eva conference. It's my great pleasure to welcome you here and to many similar familiar faces. And special greeting to our colleagues in the management of Groupe Mutuel, who that is our co-founding partner of this initiative. And also special greeting to the representative of our partners, and also to all those who have been supporting us, contributing to Tech4Eva for the last 2 years. So 2 years ago, when we launched this Tech4Eva initiative, we have the mission to raise the awareness about the importance of women's health. And we discussed the problems of lack of attention, lack of R&D fundings, and lack of VC investment to the technology that could improve women's health. We have been working very hard to, first of all, help the startups in our cohort to accelerate their business development and also to have visibility to reach out to investors. But we are also working very hard to get our voice to be heard internationally so that we can raise further attention. So starting from this year, we are getting invited by numerous international conferences and events to present our initiative, to explain our program, and to give our vision of Tech4Eva. And through our international roadshow, we have get on board quite a lot of people interested in our cause, men as well as women. So with the growing community and also with the international recognition as one of the thought leader of femtech, we would like to go a step further. We see our mission expanding from startup accelerator to a platform that we can meet that universities and companies as well as startups can meet and to brainstorm together and to develop new solutions. So in this context, we feel that there are two very important topics that could push the femtech a step further. How to take into consideration the difference between men and a woman, the biology, into the development of medical care. So how to develop very personalized care to help the health. So this question is extremely important. And the next one is how to integrate femtech into the workplace, how to support women at workplace to develop their career and also to ease their professional life. the answer for the first question is, could potentially reveal some opportunity to develop new solutions that can take into account unbiased scientific evidence. Actually, research group at the University of Lausanne and Zurich, they have already working on this, and we would like to invite them to come to the platform as experts. And the second question is as well very important, because in the company life, we need to consider women's career, and by working on these questions, it allows us to seek a synergy with associations and groups of people that work for the women's cause. It also gives us some opportunities to open a dialogue with the companies that could be keen to consider and invest in the femtech solutions for their women employees, so later on probably become customers or prescriber of femtech solutions. So today we are very privileged to have university professors and also from industry leaders and also the member of Swiss Innovation Council to come here to share their view and their expertise on these two very important topics, which could mark the future development of Tech4Eva. So I would like to thank all our speakers and moderators in advance and hope you enjoy the conversation.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Lan, for this introduction word and also showing the importance and the worldwide recognition of this program. We are here also today to bring awareness on how to advance and improve the way that we diagnose and treat health issues by taking into consideration the specificity of gender. So let me introduce you Semira Gonzet-Nusle. She's the CMO of Genomi, a startup that you probably, maybe some of you have heard the pitch this morning. She will talk about the future of sex and gender medicine and femtech. And Dr. Semira Gonzet-Nusle is a medical doctor specialized in preventive medicine and public health and an entrepreneur. She co-founded and co-leads Genomi, a startup in the field of epigenetics and longevity, which is a spin-off of the Lausanne University Hospital and Unisanté as well. Previously, she had led an academic career in research in epidemiology and of chronic diseases and epigenetics. Now, she is also a part-time executive at Unisanté to promote innovation and knowledge transfer in medical and public health research. So welcome, Semira Gonzet-Nusle.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you for the invitation. So I have the pleasure to moderate the first panel of discussion about the future of sex and gender medicine and femtech. And we will start the panel by a presentation by Professor Carole Claire, who I invite to come to the stage, please. And Carole Claire is a medical doctor. She's a specialist in general internal medicine and epidemiology and an internationally recognized researcher in health prevention and gender medicine. She's an associate professor in medicine at the University of Lausanne, and she works as a general internist and a researcher at the Center of Primary Care and Public Health Unisanté in Lausanne, where she currently co-directs the unit Gender and Health and oversees innovation. Her research interests revolve around gender and health in the clinical setting as well as during medical studies. So, Carole, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I think I need the... Thank you. So, good afternoon. Thank you for the invitation. It's a great honor for us to be here in such a wonderful place. And I also can say hello to all the people who I cannot see who are online. So, during the next 10 minutes, the idea is to show you why sex and gender is important in medicine and maybe more broadly in health research, and what could be or should be the future. So, as we all know here, we come from an androcentric paradigm. So we used the middle-aged white man as the norm, and we defined most of the what we know today on this norm. And what was different or escaping or not aligned with this norm was considered as atypical. The classical example is chest pain. Typical chest pain is based on what is described based on white, healthy men. So we need to go beyond this, and we know that it's a problem, and it still is a problem. You saw here, I will not go into details with this figure, but you see here a review for published studies from the 1980s until 2016, and you see if we focus on the left side, studies published in a clinical medicine field. So you see all different disciplines, and what we can observe is that most of the studies do not address sex, and if they do, few and the minority address both men and women. So we have a gap in knowledge. And this is problematic, and we can still measure this today. And I'll show you here a study that actually is not in press anymore. We just published this two weeks ago, actually, in BMJ Medicine, and we studied administrative health data from all hospitals in Switzerland. So we're here and now in Switzerland with a good healthcare coverage. You see we had more than 200,000 observations, and all were patients admitted in a Swiss hospital for a myocardial infarct. What we can observe is that women, and these are the dark red lines, have less treatments. They get less thrombolysis, less PCA, and less coronary artery bypass grafts, or pontage, as we say in French. So being a woman makes it for you, even though you are admitted at the hospital with a myocardial infarct, more likely or more, you have less chance to get what are the guidelines, actually. And there are consequences, and you can see on the bottom graph that women have poor prognosis, longer hospitalization, they are less likely to be admitted to intensive care units, and they are more likely to die. And we can see here, and I will maybe just skip to the deaths. So on the bottom of the graph, you see here the odds ratio for deaths. This is adjusted for all other confounding factors for women. And what is really, really preoccupying is that you see we stratified by age. And for women younger than 65 years old, they are more likely to die than men. And it's not anecdotal, it's 25 to 38% more likely to die compared to male. So women, especially younger women, are more at risk to die if they get a heart infarct in Switzerland, and we need to change this. The next slide is maybe more local, but it's to show you that gender is not just about women. And I show you a pilot study we did with medical students here in Lausanne for the exams. I don't know if it's the same in all disciplines, but they get what we call OSCEs. It's objective clinical exams where they are exposed to patients who are not really patients, but are actors who play the patients. So it's very standardized. It's always the same story that is played again and again. And here we infiltrated those exams, and for this situation I show you now, it's an anxiety situation. We proposed 50 men and 50 women patients to students. And what happens, you can see here, if the patient is played by a female actress, actually, I don't know if I can show you here. Yes, I make my little turn. So here you can see that the students are more likely to put the correct diagnosis if it's a woman, almost 50%. But if the patient is a man, only 20% will have the correct diagnosis. Same situation, same story. So we also have a problem, and gender is not just about women, but also about men. So why should we include sex and gender? Is to build knowledge in health issues that are specific to women. We have seen that we lack knowledge, we need more knowledge, and I think Femtech is really about this, about putting those female or women-specific problems in the center. It's also about understanding the specificities related to sex and gender of individuals and how these differences can induce different prognosis or responses to treatment. And that's also what I showed you here. We need to identify and act on those gender bias or gender stereotypes that we have in healthcare and management. And the final aim, I think we will all agree on this, is to improve the health and prognosis of women, of men, and also of gender diverse people. So, and I show you here just one example that is concrete example that shows also that integrating gender can help men and women. Here it's at a Cleveland clinic. They implemented, a protocol, simple protocol, very easy to follow, to better manage people admitted to the hospital with a heart infarct. And you see before in blue and after in red, and you see that the gender gap after the implementation of this simple guideline is much decreased. So the gender gap with women having poorer prognosis and more complications is improved. And more also important, you see here that mortality is decreased. So you see before on the upper graph, mortality in hospital, 30-day mortality in women and men, so higher mortality, what we also observed in Switzerland. And after the protocol, you see that women have a lower mortality, but mortality is also improved in men. So we need better guidelines and sex-adapted guidelines. So now, how do we do this? So far, we basically base our, at least in epidemiological research, our observation on this proxy called sex, where we put everything that has to do with sex. So it's biology, it's hormones, it's genetics, but it's also behaviors, it's gender norms. So we need to understand more finely what is behind those categories. And that's what we tried to do. So it's, of course, too complex. There's a QR code, but we tried to develop a toolbox just to help researchers. So it's mainly for epidemiological researchers, but I think it could help also more widely researchers to really think about, okay, what is at play with this future research I'm planning to do? Will there be differences, biological differences, behavioral differences? Is it about gender stereotypes, about gender behaviors? So just think about this in advance and then measure what needs to be measured. Because, of course, it's complex and we cannot just simplify and dichotomize those two categories. And just here, I borrowed this slide from one of my colleagues from the Institute of Science of Sports, Madeleine Pape, just to show you that even biological sex, even hormones are complex. Here you have the levels of testosterone in men above and women down, athletes. And you see that there are variations. Especially here you see among men during this sport, I think here it was track and field, you see that men have different levels of testosterone and women also. So even when we think about sex, biological sex, it can be more complicated than what we think. So sex is complex and we need to embrace this. And how can we do this? So we have very good examples, and I'm sure we will also discover many, many good examples during the afternoon. I take this example from Stanford University, you probably all know, but I think they really make gender as a chance to innovate and to improve science and health. And I think it's not only about medicine, but it can be wider. And I just pick two examples, and I apologize for all good femtech that are here. But this first example is to show that we can innovate by providing women-specific science, and so here the example is, and I think it has been presented 9 months ago, we use those tenaculum, so it's to take the cervix when we do an examination, and just this is a good example of how we can develop better devices that are so old to improve women's experience. And this other example has also, I think, been presented. Cordifio integrates also the current knowledge and the gender and sex-specific knowledge to improve prevention, diagnosis, and management here of cardiovascular heart disease. So here, I think it's not just about women, but it's about integrating women's knowledge in disciplines that are not only specific to women. And here, I think we need also more knowledge in other disciplines. Surgery, there is gender everywhere. We need to improve surgical management of women and probably also of men. Osteoporosis, pediatrics, everywhere we need to integrate gender. And we also, and I will finish with this to keep it on time, but I think we also need to, by integrating gender, we can also integrate some more diversity into research. And it's what I will call the intersectional approach. So it's also to include differences in ethnicity, differences in age, or socioeconomic factors. And in this example, it's also taken from the Gendered Innovation Project. They kind of trained the facial recognition artificial intelligence to recognize other faces than the usual white faces. And just by changing the paradigm, by changing the type of faces on where the artificial intelligence was trained, they really showed that they could improve the recognition and be more specific. So I think it's about intersectionality, it's about diversity, and we are at the beginning of important movements, and so I'm very happy to be here and to support this. So I will finish with this and open the round table. Thank you.
Many, many thanks, Carole, for this fascinating presentation. I really enjoyed very much, and I look forward to discuss more about this during the panel. So right now, I am inviting Bettina Ernst and Ursula Osterle, please, to come and sit with us. And we have two more panelists who are online. And, okay, everyone is here, wonderful. So I will start by introducing each panelist and ask a first question. So we will start with Professor Elena Osto, who is online. Hello. So Elena Osto is a medical doctor specialized in cardiology and an internationally recognized researcher in cardiometabolism and aging. She holds a position of SNS Prima Professor in the University of Zurich and the University Hospital Zurich. And she's active, in particular, in the field of sex and gender-related aspects in cardiology and in these metabolic conditions, such as obesity and type 2 diabetes. So, Professor Osto, could you please describe to us your research activities in the field of gender medicine, and could you highlight the main opportunities that you see for knowledge transfer?
Hi, everybody. Hi, Carole. Hi, Samira. Thank you for inviting me. A warm greeting to all people present in Lausanne and the other participants online. So, yeah, after the introduction of Carole, I think my research, maybe it's clear for everybody. So I really want to understand the pathophysiology of atherosclerosis. So we are born with healthy vessels, but then we develop atherosclerosis and we may have complication as myocardial infarction or a stroke. So my research really focuses in understanding how risk factors like obesity, type 2 diabetes, hypertension, dyslipidemia will affect our vessel and in particular endothelial cells, and then damage our vascular tissues. And I want to understand which are the difference between sexes, but also the gender component, because as Carole said, said, in cardiology, we are very well aware of differences. So the first difference is in coronary artery disease outcome in women and men was described in the 90 in US. So can you imagine so many decades and the problem in Switzerland in your nice paper, Carol, shows to be still present. So there is such an amount of work to do. So transfer opportunity. I just, for sake of time, I make you one example. Hypertension. I think we are all very familiar, right? You know somebody that is hypertensive, or maybe some of us take drugs for hypertension. So imagine we define hypertension using the same threshold for women and men. But what we know from research is that it seems that the risk for cardiovascular disease in women start to increase at lower level of blood pressure. So the next question, I think, for all of you is, yeah, then why we use the same threshold for both sexes if there is a difference? Simply because this was the tradition. One size fits all, and so we need to do dedicated clinical trial that were not done so far to really understand which are then the sex-specific threshold. How should we then also use drugs, because we know now that we have more side effects for women, but still we use the same drug according to guidelines for both sexes. I could go on for the entire afternoon because the same apply for cholesterol, another parameter in your work lab that I think you already measure. Cholesterol is then considered with the same parameter for women and male. But we know that this is one size is not good because we have differences, and drugs seems to give more side effect to women. Again, we don't have enough data to develop different threshold, to develop maybe also different drugs. So for all of you listening, we have to really work on that and fix this problem.
Well, thank you very much. It's extremely interesting to understand. You highlighted the importance of data, the importance of adapting the thresholds, adapting maybe the drugs, and thank you for bringing this into the discussion. So I will now turn to Dr. Antonella Sciadda-Santuccione, who is online with us as well. Hello. And Dr. Antonella Sciadda-Santuccione is a neurologist and a researcher specialized in studying Alzheimer's disease. And she's the Chief Medical Officer of Healthcare.The, a precision neurology company pioneering non-invasive brain health diagnostics using AI and augmented reality. And she is also, and we will discuss mainly about that today, the pro bono CEO and co-founder of the Women's Brain Project. She is the vice president of Pew Research, and she received numerous awards for her works. In particular, she was elected Woman of the Year in Switzerland in 2018 by the magazine Woman in Business. So my question for you, Antonella, could you please explain to us why you launched the Women's Brain Project? What are the specificities about women's brain, and also what is the focus of your research? Thank you.
Thank you so much, and I'm delighted to be with you today. I have to say that I did not launch the Women's Brain Project, but it was the Women's Brain Project who launched me. What I'm trying to tell you is that behind me there is a team of 60 scientists that I'm leading pro bono, and they are scattered around the world. Some of them, of course, belong to the permanent staff of the Women's Brain Project, which is an association. But it's about these people that join the call of action to solve the problem of sex and gender gaps in medicine. I have been working for 4.5 years at Swissmedic, which is the Swiss Agency for Therapeutic Products Approval. And this is where, being myself a reviewer and assessing on a daily basis the effect of drugs on mankind, I was appreciating that there were obvious differences in the clinical response as well as the safety profile of drugs between men and women. And we do not want to mention ethnicity, race, and beyond, because that's another unspoken and untouched territory. But that said, this was the main reason why I felt the urge to found the Women's Brain Project, to basically be the first pioneering worldwide organization to educate the scientific community, the policymakers, the regulators, the drug developers to this unspoken phenomenon. It was 2016, we started emphasizing sex and gender differences in brain and mental disease, where in my understanding, there is the highest unmet need for two simple reasons. First of all, because neuroscience, it is the most underserved discipline in the whole medical field. Second, because it is in this discipline that there is the most obvious differences between men and women when it's about prevalence of disease, progression of the disease, time to diagnose, the way the diseases are treated, treatment response, and even adherence to the treatment itself. So this was a call to action. As I've said, we started at the Zurich Lake when our kids were pulling left and right because they wanted to go home after an ice cream. And then we became a movement of 60 scientists plus. And we can disclose collaboration from Harvard Medical School up to the University of Melbourne. We collaborate with pharmaceutical industry. We have been the first organization worldwide to call regulatory agents from all over the world, FDA, Swissmedic, EMA, Health Canada, Pharma in Germany, to sit together and discuss about the problem of sex and gender differences in medicine as the gateway to precision medicine, because we believe that sex and gender is just the beginning to achieve what we call precision medicine. We do shallow medicine today, it's a matter of fact. This is to quote Eric Topol, it's not my quote. And we want to move towards precision medicine, where sex and gender, it is the big way of distinguishing. And then we go beyond. My hope it is that the Women's Brain Project will not exist anymore in maybe 10 years. It's called project because the project has a beginning and an end. And I hope that we will be done with our mission by then. In 10 years, we won't be needed anymore on this planet, and it means the problem is solved. I will not list you all the drugs that have a different impact between men and women, and how even side effects have a significant impact on the health of women. I just want to mention a phenomenal finding that nobody followed up. There was in 2001 a report done by the General Accounting Officer in the United States, 2001. Since then, nobody dared to continue that research, and I'm looking for funds to support this research, where they show that out of 10 drugs that were withdrawn from the market, 8, it was because of major side effects, lethal side effects on the female population. This is relating to arrhythmia most of the time. So what happened is that since then, there were some guidelines released for pharmacokinetic studies where they say, ideally, if you suspect that the drug might have an effect related to the heart and cause arrhythmia, please try to include enough women. It's a guidelines recommendation. It's nothing like do it seriously. And I think it is a Pandora box that must be opened, because it's about saving life. It's about saving billions that goes to research. It's about saving our time. It's about allowing people that might benefit of the drug that has been withdrawn to take the drug, because I'm pretty sure that it worked on some people and it was very beneficial, while by little side effects on women, it has been withdrawn for everybody. So to make the story short, what we want to do today it is to found the first sex and gender precision medicine research institute in Switzerland. We want to bring Swiss precision to medicine and let this happen. The institute will be a virtual institute where everybody can join. Currently, the association is transforming towards a foundation. If you want to be part of the foundation board, you can join and be either an advisor, an observer, or whatever you prefer to be. This is where we are in our journey. And of course, I'm not going to mention all the, I would say, hundred of publications that by now the association has been doing on a mainly pro bono base. So just to say that Research is free, research is needed. Women has to be the leaders in doing this research. We have human biases, and we know that a man doctor will look more carefully to a male patient. A female doctor will look more carefully to a female patient. So we need to bring those underserved community at the top of the policy agenda and transform the pattern. That's where we are here, and thank you for this opportunity.
Well, thank you very much. Very interesting to hear you put into context this Women's Brain Initiative and the link between precision medicine and sex and gender medicine. That's very, very interesting. So I will turn now to Dr. Ursula Oesterle. Dr. Oesterle holds a PhD in physics, and she is the EPFL's Vice President for Innovation since 2021. And prior to that, she spent 20 years in the Silicon Valley and in Asia, working in open innovation and with startups. And she has extensive experience in the field of, in the industries of the IT and telecom and life science, and in particular in digital transformation. And today I wanted to ask you, what are the opportunities that you see in the gender medicine research for EPFL, and in particular for bringing results into concrete solutions? And also, do you have any specific thoughts about women's specific databases? Thank you.
Also, thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here one more time. We've been here every year. So I'd like to take a slightly different view on this. We talked a lot about female health informed when you're sick, which I actually call sick care. There's a whole other element of it. It is how, as a woman, do you get through your day every day. Women have changing hormones every day. There's no 2 days that are alike. And I think this is actually just as much of a challenge because our moods, our reaction to allergies, our reactions to stress, what we eat, what we should eat, is dependent on the day of the cycle of your month. There's impact in it. So there's a whole other things in our daily life that we would also like to understand, because this impacts our careers. This impacts, especially when we go into leadership, this impacts families, this impacts relationships. And I think this is where there's a whole lot of things that can actually also come out. And what is interesting here is when we start to look at the blending of technology with science. Because technology is a lot of data, a lot of AI. There's a whole lot of research coming out in sensors. These sensors allow you to measure in real time a lot of parameters. And these parameters then can give you a little bit of an indication of where you stand. Now, to be clear, as usual, mostly is aimed at white male, healthy male. So a lot of these startups that have these new solutions, they're great, but they often don't actually work for women because they have not mastered yet how to take into account the fluctuating hormones and cycles. And I see this as a great, great opportunities, because this will also help us avoid getting sick, avoid having to go to the hospital with heart issues or high blood pressure issues. And this is where the startup, like the Tech4Eva accelerator things really help out, because we're bringing a lot of students or entrepreneurs trying to explore and discover this. This is a lot of empiric data, trial and error, learnings, feedback, crowd science. It's not absolute, but it gives a sense of directions. But then, of course, we need the medical research, the real science behind it to be able to prove the claims. So I think it's a great field of opportunity.
Well, thank you very much for your vision on this topic. And I turn to you, Carole, and could you please give us some examples of research initiatives and startups that you know that have, to your opinion, a potential impact in gender medicine?
So yes, I presented a few ones, but I think there are plenty out there, and I think again it's about bringing more knowledge to women's specific issues, health issues, and I also agree it's not just about being sick, but in prevention, there is a lot to do. I think, for example, also menopause, which is not sickness. It's not a health problem, but it's there, and we know so few about menopause, although it's about, yes, all women will go through this, and I think, yes, there is this kind of a blind angle in medicine where the startups I've seen and what is done here can really put light on those issues and really make it, yes, move forward. So these are a few examples. And yes, I think for me also one other important point is to think about the future and the next generations. And I think here also we need to integrate what we do into education. And that's also one of the important thing I'm doing with my team is really to Switzerland is a small country, there are many medical schools, and now we agreed together to have a common curriculum. So it's very simple, but it's so important now that all medical schools have the same curriculum and all integrate sex and gender in the medical studies. And I think we could and should do this for other health specialists, because medical doctors are not alone out there, and I think a PFL, but also other like nursing school, physiotherapy, and so on, should also integrate this dimension. And this is to, yes, to have a better education, but also to stimulate the next generation to integrate this. And I see now more and more students who are interested and come to me and say, oh yes, I've seen that there is these differences in multiple sclerosis, so let's go and we do something, and we have data. We have the chance to have data here, so we can work on this, and I think it's really very stimulating. So.
Excellent, thank you so much. And finally, I turn to Dr. Bettina Ernst. Bettina Ernst is an engineer in natural science and a PhD in immunology, but she's both an entrepreneur. She co-founded 2 biotech companies, and she's also an investor, and she's a member of the board of several companies. She also serves as the chairwoman of innovation of the Council of Swiss Innovation Agency, and she's on the board of the Swiss Biotech Association and as a member of the advisory board of the Swiss Entrepreneur Fund. So I have several questions for you. Could you please first present us with a concrete example of a femtech company that you are involved with? And then could you please formulate for us recommendations, towards young researchers who would want their results to be translated into a product on the market and grow company? And as the chairperson of the Innovation Council, could you explain how InnoSwiss can support such initiatives? And I can repeat my questions if there are too many.
Yes, thank you for inviting me. Good afternoon, everybody. So back to your first question about the company I'm involved in that has a program in Femtech. So I'm a board of director of the company Versamab. Versamab is a next generation mRNA company based in Basel. And Versamab's lead indication is stress-induced urinary incontinence. So for those of you that are not familiar with this indication, so the definition of stress-induced urinary incontinence is a person that suffers unwanted leakage of urine during the person's day-to-day activity, be this sneezing, be this coughing, or even be this running. This indication is a common bladder disease. It affects mainly women with increasing age, and also women following natural birth giving. It is estimated that 1 out of 3 women suffer of this indication during their lifetime. And now to the second question, so the recommendation to young researcher. So my recommendation to young researchers that want to start a project to develop a drug or a solution to an existing problem is the very same, be this for a femtech opportunity or be this to address any other disease indication. So first of all, there truly needs to be an unmet medical need, meaning there needs to be a market opportunity. Second, your product or your solution needs to be superior. So meaning you need to have a really clear and strong, unique selling proposition. So with this, your innovation must be extraordinary, meaning it must be protected, because if you cannot protect it, you will probably also not find any investments to bring forward your innovation. And then, of course, there needs to be consideration how you bring your program through regulatory affairs, what is the reimbursement for your possible indication and drug, and then think on a complementary team that you aim to build up. There are many vehicles that support you in this approach, such as Tech4Eva, such as EPFL Innovation, such as Venture Lab, Venture Kick, Venture. Swiss has programs that help young entrepreneurs, so take advantage of everything that is out there, take part in business plan competition, and they all will support you.
Thank you very much for your answer. Wonderful. So just before we close this discussion, I would like to hear each panelist on a one-sentence answer, please, for sake of time, about the future. So how do you think that we should push the femtech forward in the future? So I will ask that question to Professor Osto for starting. How do you think we should push femtech forward in the future?
I think it's, we are like, we have been waiting for a lot of time, the big wave, like the surfer, and now I think it's coming, so let's surf now. So don't give up now, really. We start having also change. We will have in Zurich also the first professorship. Carol said we are changing the curriculum, so we change also the future generation, but really all of you listening, let's connect, let's team up, let's increase awareness, and let's go, because I mean, already in my cardiovascular field, I see so many possibility of new also devices for now we have the telemedicine, so really don't limit the creativity, and I think there is a bright future, and we have to be motivated for that. So let's try to also reinforce the transfer from academia to the startups, because we can really make a difference now.
Thank you so much. Dr. Shada Santuccione, may I ask you the same question? How do you think we should push femtech forward in the future?
Very simple. I think we need to be the actor driving the change. And I can tell you that at Tech4Eva, for example, in my role as Chief Medical Officer, even before I joined the startup, which is a Swiss startup, I've asked the data scientists, please, if it's true that you can assess cognition of any individual on this planet, and if it's true that we assume there are sex and gender differences in our brains, please show me if your digital biomarker can predict if the person taking the test is a man or a woman. And actually, the digital biomarker, which measure 800 features of our brain while functioning, was accurate enough to predict the person taking the test is a man or the person taking the test is a woman, without, of course, knowing it in advance. What I want to tell you is that you have to ask your scientists to prove the hypothesis. Being wrong or being right doesn't matter, but we need to make those experiments happen on a daily basis in our laboratories. When I was a neuroscientist, I used to perform experiments with mice and train and test their cognition. This was in the field of Alzheimer. It was a test called the Y maze. You put the mice and the mice to follow a path and smell. And I can tell you that although I thought the sex of my animal is tremendously important, when I went to my mentor and talked about it, the person laughed at me and said, it's not possible, it's not doable. There is no difference between a male that is a female or a male. And so that's what we have to change. We have to change what was a long time ago, and I'm done.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Dr. Osterle.
I think we have to get much more granular. While female have different health requirements and issues than men, every person is unique. Your DNA, your lifestyle, all impact to it. So we need to go much more towards personalized health. And we'll be in for a lot of surprises of what we actually don't know yet.
Thank you so much. Professor Claire.
Yes, to make it in one sentence and build on what has been said, I think we also need to be more intersectional, so bring also other diversity. Femtech is a pioneer. I really think there is a pioneer movement now, and we need to share this and to extend this to other social determinants of health, ethnicity, socioeconomic status, age, and so on.
Thank you. Dr. Ernst.
Yes, I think initiatives such as Tech4Eva are wonderful instruments to promote Femtech. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Do I have 2 minutes for taking a question from the public, looking at the Master of Ceremony?
Let's take one question.
One question. So please, someone. Yes.
Thanks a lot. I'm Anna. I'm actually an EPFL alumni 2018 in biomedical engineering. And we spoke a lot today about bringing this aspect of gender into different areas. And I'm curious to know what can we do here at EPFL to actually bring this aspect to students, to biomedical students, maybe to mechanical engineering students. Yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Thank you. Is that a question for you, Dr. Osterle, I guess?
So thank you for the question. I think very similar to what you were talking about. I think there's going to be topics that go into courses in the larger scope as we look at sustainability, which is also going to be ingrained in all the courses, sustainability, ethics, gender, there's all going to be topics. Then also as a PhD student, you will get, there's different support to also support the needs of women. Then there is a group called, what is it called? FemSpin, which is actually female spin-outs, female entrepreneurs, together with other collaborations with other universities to actually help and drive female entrepreneurship and female mindset. So as same early times, a lot of new initiatives. Please make use, please help drive, and please come and ask for help.
Wonderful, thank you so much. So I can close the panel and thank very warmly all the panelists. It was an extremely interesting discussion, and it was my pleasure to moderate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the panel. So we will continue with the same topic, but look from a slightly different lens. So now we'll leave a little bit the medical perspective behind, and we're going to move more into the workplace to discuss more how can we better improve women's health in the workspace. And I know that this next moderator, she will bring a lot of small fun facts to introduce her panel. So I thought I will actually go before and share a little almost secret fun fact about her. And that is that even though she was busy on maternity leave when she had her kids back in time, she still managed to get an interior designer degree. So with that, I would like to big hand of applause for Ellen Kocher. Please come up on stage, and I will let you take us further in the program.
Thank you. Thank you. So I presume this is on, yes? Yes, wonderful. So thank you, everybody, and thank you very much, Lan, for inviting us here. I would like to start by introducing a wonderful panel from the workplace that will join us today. So one by one, I will introduce Jean-Michel Baudequin. Jean-Michel, can you please come and join us? Jean-Michel is an old friend at this point because we've worked a lot together. He is Vice President, International Benefits Senior Manager at Capital Group. After beginning his career in finance, Jean-Michel reoriented his career toward human resources. He's grown his specialization in benefits and now covers 13 countries in Europe and Asia, where global asset manager Capital Group has established an international presence. The challenge of meeting Capital Group's associates' diverse health and wellness needs while supporting the firm's global business strategies keeps him highly engaged. And now the fun fact. That's what we all want to know. Jean-Michel is passionate about photography, and he uses it to re-energize and extend his life into nature. Welcome, Jean-Michel. Second member of our panel, Samira. Samira, please come join us. Samira Jafari is Global Head of Advanced Technologies and Innovation at Duttweiler, Switzerland. She's a member of the Innovation Council of InnoSwiss, a Swiss innovation agency we've just learned about. Samira has a bachelor's and a master's degree in aerospace engineering, and she's completed her studies as a PhD in mechanical engineering at ETH in Zurich. She has a decade of experience working in different industries in engineering and manufacturing. Fun fact about Samira, I love this one. Samira is a published author. She published a book series for children about space during her bachelor's degree. Super cool. So now we've got finance and we've got manufacturing. Remember, we're looking at the workplace here. Now I'd like to welcome Tech4Eva. Sophie. Sophie is a member of the executive committee of Groupe Mutuel. She's been there since 2013 as this member of the executive committee. She's head of the individual benefits business sector, which includes the departments dedicated to claims management, negotiations with healthcare providers, data analysis, and payment transactions. She's a lawyer by training, and she's a holder of an EMBA from HEC Paris. Sophie was previously in charge of Groupe Mutuel's legal department and HR. She's also a member of the Cercle Suisse des Administratrices. Welcome, Sophie. And fun fact, Sophie has recently started practicing Reiki, which she finds stimulates her soul and spiritual side. So I'm going to sit down and welcome this panel discussion. I must say that asking those fun facts, I don't know if you all realized it, but everybody has a fun fact which gives them life balance. The credentials of the group is phenomenal, as is the credentials of the people in this room. But I think it's quite interesting that all of the fun facts actually are something completely non-related to work, which I think shows us that we're all looking for that balance. So I wanted to start today our panel discussion by actually setting the context and set the stage. So listen to this. Women account for 47.7% of the global workforce. Women cannot perform well if they're exhausted or struggling with physical or mental health symptoms. It's not good for them, it's not good for their employer, and it's not good for our economy. McKinsey, earlier this year, March 2022, they coined the term the Great Breakup. Some of you may have heard of it. Women are demanding more from work. They're leaving companies in unprecedented numbers to get it. Women leaders are switching jobs at the highest rates ever seen, much higher than men. As a consultant and a workplace wellness consultant for Swiss Health Promotion, a government and insurance-funded foundation promoting health, specifically in the workplace, I work with tools for workplace health management, and I guide clients toward the prestigious Friendly Workspace label. The label, along with current workplace trends, shows that it is critical for employees today to have a strategy embedded and systematic. And this strategy includes much of what we were discussing earlier: corporate social responsibility, belonging and inclusion of all genders and ages, a positive work environment, work-life balance, or what we should just call life balance, and finally, women's health challenges. Speaking of women's health challenges, that's where we're going to start. Jean-Michel, Let's talk about women's health challenge of menopause. And you mentioned it earlier on today. That's actually how we met. 72% of businesses still have no menopause policy. Menopausal women are the fastest growing demographic in the workforce. 3 out of 4 women experience symptoms and 1 in 4 serious symptoms. 1 in 3 people in the workforce will soon be over 50. In the UK, there have even already been successful employment tribunals against employers due to menopause discrimination. Jean-Michel, what are you at Capital Group doing in this realm?
Thank you, Helen, and thank you for having me here. I'd like to answer your question, Helen, by asking you a question. With the kind of evidence you just shared, what else do we need in the corporate world to recognize that menopause is a component of wellness, of well-being, of well-feeling, and is something important that corporations in general should include in their programs to support their female workforce. I think you've demonstrated how important the topic is. At Capital, what we're trying to do is maybe centered around 3 different axes, and maybe I'll save the policy question for last. The 3 axes we're looking at is really, number 1 is education. We want to reach out to our workforce and try to get them to think about what it means. And when I'm saying our workforce, by the way, we're obviously targeting women, but we're targeting our male workforce as well, because they both go hand in hand. So the information is something really important, and to that effect, we're organizing sessions, just general awareness session to sort of break the bias and the anxiety about the subject, number 1. It's a subject. As another one, it affects everybody at different levels, so let's make it a natural topic and an easy one to talk about. So that's how we actually met, Ellen. In the first session, we organized actually on menopause. We started in Switzerland, and before you know it, as Ellen mentioned, I'm covering 13 different countries across Europe and Asia. My phone was ringing off the hook because other offices were saying, oh, can you do this for us in our own country, etc. And we ended up organizing sessions in all our countries, in all our different cultural environments, which goes from Switzerland to Japan. And the common denominator is there's a huge ask for it. And there's a huge participation. And yes, women took part in the sessions, but men were also there to try to understand, be it for their colleagues, for their wives. So there's many, many reasons why men should also be involved. So we've organized those sessions with specialists. We're also offering all our associates, by the way, associates is employees in our company. It doesn't refer to any specific level. But all our associates have access to a 24/7 mental support line, and they can talk to psychologists, and they can talk about menopause, they can talk about how it affects them, how it makes their life more complex, etc. So we're trying to create those forums, different nature, where people can go and talk, learn, exchange, etc. So that's one of the first avenue. The other one, obviously, is helping. And helping is making sure that through our medical plans, women who are suffering a condition from time to time can take time off. They don't have to justify, they don't have to explain. They can just say, I'll sign off for today, I'm not feeling too good. So that's also one element. And make sure that our female employees or associates understand they will be trusted. No one's going to say, oh, second guess or question the real reason. So that's also something important. And in that respect, we've also created a white paper which talks about all the symptoms which are possible. And it's not only about hot flushes or anything, but it goes as far as potential withdrawal, which will affect a woman's career potentially. So those are all elements which need to be considered. And this white paper, we use it for internally in HR. So we're not distributing it to everybody. But the idea is that our business partners are fully aware of it, and they can, in turn, talk about it, and they're more knowledgeable about it, and they can share it with their different businesses. So that's how we think we can spread the news and raise general awareness. We've also launched on last October on Menopause Day, no, couldn't find a better timing, an app where women can go online and find a lot of resources, video, self-learning, etc. So, and that is available in all our countries. And so that's how we're trying to help women go about it, and men to get a bit more educated about it. And I think overall, going back to your original question about a policy, we had long discussions about that. Should we have a policy for menopause? And then one of the answers which rapidly came about was there are many conditions which can affect our associates or people working. So should we have a policy for each possible situation? To what extent? What kind of depth? This is like going to raise endless questions. So what we thought was going to be more appropriate is to sort of try to foster a menopause culture, but a respect culture, a different culture. So we're trying to educate people around all those differences which can affect people and say, look, it may not be for you, but it represents a serious condition for someone else. So be mindful, be respectful. Mm-hmm. Just wonder how you can help. Can you make a little bit of a difference? Can you show a little bit of empathy, etc.? And this is more working around those subjects to try to help people understand what's affecting someone else, is that we think we're going to be, getting to where our objectives are.
Mm. I have to say, congratulations, because I'm hearing empathy, I'm hearing inclusion. And by the way, as we worked on this menopause, something else came up. One of the doctors was mentioning hormonal changes in women every day. Well, they happen in men too. They happen in everybody. It's enough to have stress and your cortisol goes up. So let's just face that. So we've actually looked into doing andropause as well in the workplace. So it's just interesting fact on that. Thank you very, very much, Jean-Michel. I think that's exemplary and definitely motivating for anybody else here. So going down that road of inclusion, we've noticed in the past few years, though many organizations are making commitments to diversity, equity, and inclusion, data shows that many are not necessarily making it a strategic priority. And again, this is something we insist a lot upon at Swiss Health Promotion through our Friendly Workspace label. Strategy, work-life balance, for example, it still causes conflict for 72% of women. So, Samira, I would love to touch upon the diversity, equity, and inclusion conversation with you, both to attract and keep talent. Coming from the industrial machinery manufacturing astronaut company like Detweiler, with more than 20 operating companies, sales in over 100 countries, and over 7,000 employees, I can only imagine the challenge of including everyone. What are you doing? How do you do it?
Thanks a lot, Alan, for the question, and also hello and good afternoon, everybody, from my side. I mean, you rightly mentioned that Detweiler is actually an engineering and manufacturing company. And a lot of people assume in industrial and mechanical sector, and a lot of people immediately assume that this is a male-dominated sector. But the fact is, actually 40% of our workforce are women. And we are not the exceptions in this industry. The exact ratio changes a little bit across different geographical regions, but nevertheless, women remain as a very important part of our workforce, and their health and awareness is very important to the success of the company. I mean, there are basically two things that I wanted to bring up in terms of different initiatives that are taken, or what should be on the company's to-do list to basically secure and the wellness and health of the woman, the first thing is actually a little bit about the culture. And first of all, that we try to bring the facts together, basically making clear that women's reproductive health by itself is not an issue, is not an illness, is a perfectly normal experienced by vast majority of women around the world, and that has to be normalized. I think Jean-Michel a little bit touched about that. It's nothing gross. It should be talked about at the workplace. Unfortunately, there are a lot of myths that reproduce themselves, perhaps because we are not educated enough. And that can be solved actually by defining certain initiatives, trying to educate the workforce and basically make the information available. But then also bring the science and fact together to acknowledge when something is not normal and basically provide the help and support for the employees to get the right medical help. The second point in terms of basically introducing the right strategies and initiatives is also was touched in the panel before, is about acknowledging the width and breadth of the needs. Women, I mean, that's a very wide population by itself, going in different ages, in different demographies. You have the pregnancy, you have the maternity leave, supporting women to come back to work. There is menopause, and Jean-Michel talked about. There is a menstrual cycle, there are infertility, a lot of mental issues that come to that, and there will not be a single, answer to all of that. But I think one very important thing that was touched by in the previous channel is basically trying to address some of that, but introducing flexibility at the workplace. And we all saw that, for example, COVID brought a lot of flexibility, working from home, etc. And a lot of data shows that they disproportionately benefit women because of this special needs, so to say. But we have to also acknowledge some of those benefits actually did not go to very important part of the workforce that is not an option for them to work from home, such as frontline workers or people in the production line. And that's also something that we have to be mindful and take care of in the corporates.
Fascinating. Thank you very, very much. Again, we're seeing here, as a corporate health consultant, I see companies every day, and these are definitely both very wonderful examples of modern understanding of the needs. And by the way, the younger generation that's coming up, all of you that are studying at EPFL, this is a requirement. This is no longer negotiable. This is the quiet quitting and the great resignation that's happening. If we don't take this seriously, you've realized as corporations that it's a non-negotiable. It's not a nice to have. So we're going to move on to Sophie. So Sophie, clearly representing Groupe Mutuel as sponsor and event partner of Tech4Eva, you're invested and firmly believe in Femtech, clearly. I understand that you've initiated the Tech4Eva Club at Groupe Mutuel, and I would love to learn more about this. Who started it? How are you embedding this into your workplace culture? Because again, this is not about what we call random acts of wellness. This is embedding into our workplace culture the notion of well-being. Please.
So yes, exactly. We've created an internal club, but before talking about this, I would like to say a few words about the reason why Groupe Mutuel decided to co-found Tech4Eva, because it's important to understand the whole picture. So, we are a health and life insurer. We are number 3 in health insurance in Switzerland. We have 1.3 million individual customers. We also have 27,000 corporate clients, and 50% of our customers are women. And we strongly believe that our role as insurer is not only to pay bills. We do pay bills, a lot, 19 million per year, so a lot of bill, but our role goes far beyond that. Our role is really to support our customers. It is to offer innovative solutions for better services, for better treatment, for better prevention. And we think that innovation and new technologies should be at the service of all our customers. And this is not the case today. because even if women represent 50% of the population and 50% of our customers, only 4% of health investments are specifically dedicated to women.
Excuse me, did you all hear that figure? Could you repeat that? Sophie?
Only 4%,
4%
of research and innovation investments in health are specifically dedicated to women. We've heard that earlier with Professor Claire. Women have long been underrepresented in clinical trials. A lot of medical procedures are not fully adapted to women because they simply don't take into account the specificities of women's health. And this has a huge impact on women's health because it impacts the prevention, it impacts the treatment, it impacts everything, the diagnosis, and so on. So 4%, this is clearly not enough, and we want to help change this, and this is why we co-founded Tech4Eva with the EPFL Innovation Park. And now, more specifically on the internal club. When we talk about women's health, we are always talking about topics that are still taboos in society in general, but especially in companies. And if I ask you how many of us already talked about with colleagues or with the boss about what you did this weekend, probably everyone will say, okay, already did that. If I ask you how many of us already talk with the boss or with the colleagues about topics like menopause or miscarriage or menstruation. Okay, not a lot. So really, we are talking about taboos, and if we want to improve women's health, we need to break these taboos. We need these taboos to disappear. So we need to talk about it, and we need to create a cultural change. And this is exactly why we've created the internal club. So thanks to Hannah, who had this brilliant idea. We've launched in July 21 the internal Tech4Eva club at Groupe Mutuelle, which is open to all employees, not only to women. And we organize events, both in French and in German, so all employees can participate. The participation it's during working time, so it's really important to say that. And what do we do during this event? So the aim is really to allow our employees to learn more about women's health, to learn more about femtech, about new technologies, about the challenges around this. So we have presentation about topics like menopause, about women's health and career, about fertility, pregnancy, and so on. So really presentation on women's health topics. We also have presentation of startup from the program. So this is the opportunity for our employees to meet and to exchange with innovators, to discuss, to brainstorm about opportunities for the Groupe Mutuelle, and to co-create innovative solutions for our customer, because again, our role is to offer innovative solutions. So this is why we are doing this internal club.
Fantastic initiative. Thank you very, very much. So I think we've had a really good global view of what's happening now at the enterprise level, at the corporate level. Now I would like to go a little bit more granular down to an individual and a personal level. I'm not only a consultant, but I'm also a health and wellness coach, and I work with groups and individuals in preventative health with really links to the bottom line. And in recent years, I've seen a lot of increase in demand for women's health, whether it be menopause, whether it be periods, et cetera, et cetera. We learned earlier today that women are demanding more from work and they're leaving. And as an expert, I have to say that all three of your companies are really avant-garde, and you're doing what it takes. So I'd love to set the stage and help everybody here look at a progressive future to retain and keep women because they're leaving. So I'd love you each to share one by one, and I think we'll take the same order this time because then we'll each get the same opportunity to give their opinion. So Jean-Michel, how do you personally see the future of women's workplace health And I'll just put a few questions in here and answer however you see fit. What needs to happen to keep women happy and well? And where do you see a place for femtech? Do you have any tips for anybody that's moving forward with this?
Wide question. I think one of the guiding principles as far as we're concerned is to try to listen to people. Because it's all very nice. As an employer, we're trying to create the best possible environment. We all know the song. How do you do it? Well, you need to get it from the people. It needs to be a partnership. Otherwise, you're going nowhere. Because, I mean, how do I know what's good for anyone working with us? Other than the coffee machine discussions, where you learn stuff, but you don't go deep enough. And we're talking about serious situations, serious topics here. So it's quite difficult. But listening to people, so one thing I think is going to be useful is, and I'm sure we're not the only ones, we've got communities popping up. So themed communities, and it covers all the aspects. One of them being women in business. That is really an important source of information. Because that's where women all levels, and that is really important. Those communities are open from the top to the entry level, the young to the most tenured associate. Everybody's welcome there, including men, by the way. And that's sort of our own little internal lab to know what we should be looking at. We talk about menopause today, but menstruation becomes the next topic. What should we be doing? And so that is what's starting the thinking in the company. Now, we need to cover also all the different cultural environments. So one size doesn't really fit all. There's more shyness in certain parts of the world than there are in others. But I think the communities are really something very important in terms of growing, continue to improve, and to find better solutions.
So if I understand you correctly with these communities, you're creating these communities in your company in order to ask what are the needs so that you can adapt the needs?
Yes.
Okay, do you do that annually? Is it ongoing? How does that work?
No, the communities will meet like regularly, it's once a month, and then they do also organize, they're totally free to organize their own events.
Okay.
There's obviously a guiding line, which is given by the company in terms of what you can, can't do, but really it's very open. And so by looking at the kind of events which are being organized gives us an indication of the topics. And obviously the committee in each community will come back to us and share the discussions, their expectations. I'm not going to say demands, but sometimes, we're having strong discussions. It's not just a nice to have and yeah, we'll listen to you whenever we can. No, they are a full part of the long-term strategy of the company when it comes to how we deal with the associates and how we create the best possible environment for them.
And I think, again, what's critical here in the workplace is the communication, number one, and number two, at every level of the organization. And that is what we see as well. Doing this kind of an assessment, this kind of a self-assessment continuously is what makes it sustainable, actually. Samira, same questions, if you remember them well.
Yes, sure. I think actually, luckily, I see that there are a lot more interest in women's health now, today, compared to a decade ago. And I think there are a lot of drivers behind this change. Of course, there's a lot more public awareness. We heard about a lot of those research that goes into this direction. Also, women, all over the world, they are also gaining economic power, and they can demand and afford, such treatments, intervention, etc., to improve the quality of their lives. There is also a lot more, in corporates, a lot more females in the leaderships and on the boards that, together with their male counterparts, demand change and try to bring solutions to the market. I think it is clear that basically women's health is under-researched, is under-invested, is undervalued, and that's a big missed economic opportunity, among other things. And I believe femtech actually brings the capital and the talent together to address that and basically enhance the quality of life. And not only for women, we shouldn't forget also for their children, their families, their partners, etc. And I think gremiums like that and also Femtech are excellent instrument also for organizations like us to learn what to do and how to address the issue the best.
Mm-hmm. Are you currently using any Femtech within your company? Curiosity?
Actually, not, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we don't have...
It's new, it's normal.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, we don't have also something that is called women's health policy, so to say. But there are a lot of initiatives in the company, you know, regarding the maternity leave, regarding supporting the women to come back to work, a special carers leave. I think that's really important. We shouldn't forget women still do the majority of care work, you know, for their ill partners, children, parents, etc. And we don't call them women's initiative, and perhaps that's not a very negative thing, because these are not exclusively women's issues,
Clearly.
right?
Yeah, and I think that's a really relevant one, that last one, which is the caretakers. We've got what we call now this sandwich generation, which is the older generation which is stuck between caring for aging parents, perhaps caring for a menopausal self, and then they've still got children around. So this creates a very stressful generation, and it's hitting women, especially 50-something, often when they have the most amount of responsibility at work. So it's a real challenge today. Sophie, paint us a picture of the future, please.
So where do I see a place for Femtech in the future? Yeah. So I think we can say today Femtech is still a niche market. But I'm strongly convinced that it will become mainstream in the next few years. If we see, for example, the number of applications we have for the program Tech4Eva. For the first edition, 110 applications. For the second edition, 124 applications. So it is growing, and it is growing fast. Experts talk about a market that will reach 75 billion worldwide in 2025, so tomorrow. So if you are looking for interesting investments, this is probably the right time to think about investing in Femtech. So I think that investors will care more and more about Femtech and women's health. But not only investors, employers will care more and more about women's health. We see it with these two examples, which are pioneers. Congratulations to you. And I think employers need to stay attractive if they want to win the talent war. So they need to invest in diversity and inequality because employees want equality and diversity, and investing in women's health is the best way to invest in diversity, because health is a factor of equality, and there is a very strong link between health and career. So employers will have to invest in women's health if they want to stay attractive. And as insurer, we see that we have more and more corporate clients that are looking for solutions, that are looking for support to deal with these topics. And this is why, for example, we have experienced midwives who can help our corporate clients to deal with topics like pregnancy. This is also why we are every day working on developing new products and new services. This year, for example, we have launched a new product called PrimaFlex, and the product covers, for example, some prevention services related to breast cancer. So again, our role is really to bring new solutions, to bring new services, to bring new products on the market to address the needs of our customers, needs that are growing.
I really appreciate what you said there, and I'd like to make that link, reinitiate that link for everybody, which is about feeling you belong and feeling healthy. It's the same thing, because if you're not healthy, you don't feel you belong. And if you don't belong, you are not included in the workplace. So we're back to the diversity, equity, and inclusion question. That is the first thing I wanted to make the link on. And the second one, which is just this general notion, which may not be a notion in the general audience here, which is the return on investment for investing in workplace health and well-being is 4 to 1. So for every 1 spent, the return is 4. This is the business case we need to be communicating to our employers. I would just like to do one last final round. If any of you have something you'd love to add to this conversation or a tip you might like to share with anyone going forward. Jean-Michel?
Maybe my answer is going to be triggered by what you said on return on investment. I sometimes suffer when we're looking at programs and you're being asked, what's the return on investment? There is a return on investment. Should we really quantify that return? I'm totally not convinced. And that is extremely personal, but the best return on investment I can see is when someone going through a situation comes back and say, thank you for having this or that. That is, for a company, for a corporation, the best return that you can think of.
They come back. The fact that they come back and they don't stay out.
Come back,
yeah,
and
they come back.
You make a difference for one person who, going through a rough patch, found some help down the road, help which is provided by the employer, gets us out of that role of saying, I'll give you a job, I'll give you a salary, end of story. No. There's much more, or there should be much more to it, to the relationship. And this is one of the things. If we can help, give the right environment, that is, to me, a superb investment. The return is a human return. I don't think it needs to be quantified in dollar terms.
No, nor do I. And I would add one thing here. And if many of you are thinking, oh, yes, this is an answer for the large corporations, all those people that have money to invest, I don't remember who it was, but somebody had mentioned maybe it's just allowing those employees the time they need to do one of these things. Time is not spending money. And I think that's very important. It's something we're recognizing at Swiss Health Promotion for next year, looking at the small and medium-sized companies and implementing this even for the smallest of companies. Samira?
Yes, so basically, one thing that I wanted to highlight that often maybe something forgotten also in a lot of debates even about inclusion and diversity, because there's a lot of momentum behind creating different initiatives to try to benefit women, etc. But what we have to also pay attention to go back and measure whether they are effective, whether these instruments are helping us to keep the women healthy, to retain them at the workplace, to make them come back. And if not, why not? An instrument for being well-intentioned is not equal to effective, right? So that's really important that we have to keep in mind for corporate initiatives.
Thank you.
So my final remark would be improving women's health. It's a big challenge, and no one can solve this alone. So we really need to work all together if we want to improve women's health. So it's a cause, and we would like you to join us. So feel free to join us and to improve women's health.
Yes, please do. And I would close as well by just making you all aware of Swiss Health Promotion, Promotion Santé Suisse, Gesundheitsförderung Schweiz. All of the tools online are available free of charge. So if you would like to see, that's a federally funded, government-funded, and insurance-funded association. On the website, you will find plenty of tools and guidelines and tips that can lead you toward this. So please visit that, and welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Hélène, for the moderation, and thank you to all of the companies that are putting in place some real solutions for women's health in the workplace. I will now leave the floor again to Lanzio Gillette, who will share with us some details of activities for the Tech4Eva program 2022. Hélène, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So we just had 2 fantastic panel discussions talking about gender medicine and also femtech at workplace. As today is also the closing events for the second round of Tech4Eva acceleration program, so I would like to spend a couple of minutes to summarize what we have been doing and where we are heading to. So the second year of Tech4Eva is basically the year of consolidation, with a lot of learnings and also very pleasing results regarding visibilities, knowledges, community program, and impact. In terms of visibility, I already mentioned that we've been invited to many other conferences worldwide, and in Switzerland, we have earned attention for the media. So we've been constantly interviewed by the Swiss journalists and media, radio, television, etc. So you would see we are being known, at least in Switzerland. And internationally, the visibility could also explain by what Sophie has just mentioned, the growing application number for our programs. So this year we got 124 applications for 30 countries, so mean the visibility of the program worldwide. In 2022, we also tried to extend our knowledge by involving more people to give their content and share their knowledge. We tried to also improve our workshop contents to best suit for the stage of development of a startup company in the cohort. And the best knowledge learning, I'm sure lots of startups agree on this, is the peer-to-peer session that we organized, where startups share their concerns and challenges and get feedback from the others. So overall, we try to increase the knowledge for the femtech and also for the femtech business on itself. We built a lot of community, built through our numerous international roadshow, online roadshow in Boston, in Paris, in London, Seoul, and also in Switzerland. Usually when we do roadshow, we do public events to getting more people involved in the femtech, and we also organize private sessions where startup can meet investors, meet representative of healthcare systems, and also to try to connect them with the business people. So these also help to do a lot of communities. But nothing is more than in physical meeting when we did travel around to several places to meet key opinion leaders, to the key players on the femtech space, which enlarged our community again. Now, in terms of a program, we basically follow the same as the first year and also do 3 parallel tracks with distinguished objectives and also very different activities to help growth stage as well as early stage startups. What is very nice to notice is that this year, the evaluation from the startup, from Tech4Eva startups have been higher than the last year. So as you can see, in terms of quality of program, quality of organization, quality and experience of trainer, mentor, and coaches, and also the recommendation letter. So it's a very pleasing results. Here you can have overview of all the activity we have organized in the 2 years. With very limited financial resources, we managed to extend the scope of our institutional partners and as well as the pool of expert mentors. So you will see the numbers are quite a big, very heavy workload for us, but many encounters and also roadshow, workshops, training, etc. As a result, when we ask our startups where they have the significant progress they've made during the program, a majority of them indicate that business know-how, because of all the sessions that we organize, and also the network with the corporates. Now, regarding for the fundraising, this year we did not manage to beat the record year of the first year, where we raised the 2022 cohort. They raised overall 67 million to date, and one company has been acquired by big players. And this year, the fundraising number is only 10 million, but also it's very normal, because in this year, our startups consist of relatively young startups, so they are predominantly pre-seed fundraising. Unlike last year, they are in A round, B round, and C round. So, going forward, as I mentioned, that we would like to extend our scope to move from a startup accelerator to a global innovation platform for women's health and well-being. So, in next year, our action plan is to further build femtech ecosystem by bringing to our platform not only the investors, but also the scientists, and also more and more corporates. And we will concentrate next year on fewer startups, so that we can dedicate more of our time to each one of them, and to bring personalized help. We'll push for market adoption of the femtech solutions, and specifically, I mean here, we push the market adoption through probably also our corporate partners that care about the health and well-being of their female collaborators. We strongly support the gender medicine research, and we seek opportunity to bridge the scientists together with the entrepreneur, and together to think about how to bring the science to the market. This has been an amazing journey, and Tech4Eva would have been successful without commitment and dedication of individuals and also institutions. First of all, I would like to thank for our co-founding partner, Groupe Mutuel, for their colleague and for their continuous support in terms of recruitment for startups, communication, and also introduction to further contact. So thank you very much, Groupe Mutuel, for your financial support and all the help. I would like to thank also our partners. There are quite numerous partners over here. They are sending us their experts. They are helping us to promote our events and also co-organize events and increase our network as well as our knowledge pool. My sincere thanks to all the mentor and the coach who are involved in this program. I thank you for your time, your generosity, for your network, and for your expertise. Last but not least, I would like to thank our team at EPF Innovation Park, and specifically to Simon Theis, who's operating always behind the scene. So thank you, Simon, for the great job of offering. The great job done for organizing all the events and details of the program running. And thank you, Amalia, for your hard work also to do the graphic design work and the paperwork to make everything happen. Thank Ursula, I'm still here. And thank you, Ursula, for the support. Ursula being the head of EPF Innovation Park, she was our unconditional strong supporter of the Tech4Eva initiative, and also to Johannes and to all the rest of my team for your continuous support. Now, for next year, 2023, we are still looking for additional sponsors because we would like to extend the activity scope, as I said. So anyone, corporates that care about women's health, and family office, governmental agency, anyone who would like to support us, please contact us. We're also calling for further partnership for co-design events and also activities with any organizations in particular those who care about women's cause. We are still looking for mentors, anyone who has a relevant expertise and a network who believe they can bring to contribute to our program. Please also come to us. Now, last but not least, I want to say a big congratulations to all the Tech4Eva startup for the progress you have made, for your commitment for the Femtech course. And today you are one of participants, and tomorrow you are going to be the first one of the participants of a member of our alumni, and you are very welcome to come back to us anytime you want if you seek for report, but also anytime when you have time to support the follow Tech4Eva startups. So with this, I thank you all for your attention, and please stay with us because you are going to hear the fantastic pitch of all our Tech4Eva startups. Thank you.
So it's been almost 2 hours that we are here, so maybe we deserve a 2-minute break, not a 5 minutes as it's written, but a very short 2-minute break. Just stand up and talk to your neighbor about what they are doing in Femtech. But stay here, please. Don't move too far because we will start again in 2 minutes. For those who are online, you can just grab a coffee and join us again in 2 minutes. Please don't move. Well. Okay, I think we can all go back.
Okay, Johannes, that was a quick 2-minute break. So I think with that, we will have the audience coming back to the room.
No worries, we will have the opportunity to chat later.
Yeah, maybe you can tell us a few words about the apéro we will have later.
There is an apéro afterwards, so that's a few words. And so you will have the opportunity to network afterwards, so please, if you could go back to your seat, that would be awesome. So we could move to the next part of the program, which is even more exciting.
So as we talked, as Lan presented us the program, while people are still taking their seat, I mean, we have 28 selected startups this year, right? And there are 2 different tracks, as Lan were explaining. There are the growth and the early.
Exactly. There is 14 growth and 14 early-stage startups. For those who are interested, you can find them online on Tech4Eva.ch, and you can discover the 28 projects in details. And we are very proud today to have with us the 14 growth stage startups, and they will pitch. So that's the time we're waiting for. So in the first group, we will have Asiona, actually from Poland, Dana Health from Spain, Prove from the USA, Delhi also from the USA, Vio Health Tech from the UK, B-Raise from Switzerland, and Aquafit from Israel. So you can see the varieties of countries this project are coming from, and we are very much looking forward to hearing their presentation and pitch.
Maybe what we can add as well is that here, me and Johannes, we're going to be tough. So there are 2 minutes for each startup to pitch, and we will be very tough. There is a timer here on stage, and if they go over time, we will be the mean guys, and we will interrupt them. But don't stress too much. You have their contacts online. They will be here for the apéro as well afterwards. So there are ways to continue the conversation also afterwards.
Exactly. So let's start. And the first one is Asiona. They are the symptoms of Hashimoto's with a personal nutrition plan.
She's coming here. Eva? So We have the mic ready for you, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Eva Gallant, and I'm founder and CEO of Hashiona. Hashiona is a platform for Hashimoto and hypothyroid patients to help them increase the quality of life and decrease the number of antibodies. Can I have the next slide, please? So, do you know that 1 out of 8 women has or will have thyroid disorder during their lifetime? Those women basically may have up to 45 different symptoms, including constant tiredness, sleeping problem, gaining a weight, or depression. And currently we have only one solution for that. It's a pharmacological solution, one simple pill called levothyroxine. This pill we are taking one time per day, and basically it doesn't work as it's supposed to. Over 70% of the patients being on the levothyroxine still experience some of all the symptoms during the therapy. This is because Hashimoto has and is the autoimmune underlying condition which we have to fight with the antibodies. And that can be only done by implementing some lifestyle changes, a similar way as it's happening during the diabetes. So that's why we actually created Hashiona. Hashiona is a platform where the women basically are getting a personalized therapy containing the lifestyle changes, meal and supplements plan, and blood test. So firstly, we started building the product with a deep research by analyzing 1,200 medical papers. Then we create the algorithms which personalize all of the experience for the users, getting the antibodies as close as possible to zero and improving the quality of life. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. The next startup to present is Dana Health. They are doing our digital health solutions to improve mental health and well-being of mother. So floor is yours.
Hello. Let's dive into the woman's health during pregnancy and early motherhood, something that can happen to you, your wife, daughter, or friend. 90% of all women experience some kind of mood disorder during motherhood, and 25% suffer a severe mental health pathology. Unfortunately, 75% of the cases go underdiagnosed, and our healthcare system cannot always help when needed. Perinatal mood disorders have a direct impact on the mother's health and her capacity to take care of the child, with potential long-term negative effect for both the mother and the baby. That's why we launched Dana in 2020. Dana is a digital health based on AI to improve the woman's mental health and well-being during motherhood, and a future digital therapeutic solution for the healthcare system. We have launched Dana as a B2C to B model, an approach that has been proven with unicorns like Maven or Butterfly. First phase, B2C, focus on users with the premium well-being app to generate data and reach a critical mass. Dana is tested in the market today with psychoeducational programs, a community of mothers, and a mood tracker with over 12,000 downloads. In parallel, we are starting our clinical studies with world-class hospitals to achieve the medical device certification class 2A. Intended use, early screening of mood disorders and mental health pathologies, diagnosis support, and monitoring of patients for the healthcare system. Next slide, please. Veronica, our CEO, and myself have launched digital ventures in the past and had the opportunity to lead international companies in different countries. We are a woman-led venture backed by the dedicated team of 12 full-time employees, most of them women, specialized in all disciplines you need to build a disruptive e-health and femtech solution. Dana starts in Spain, impacting 2 million women to prove the scalable business opportunity. Next step, expand to Germany and US with over €1 billion revenue potential. We raised 1 million in 3 rounds from APX, Ship2B Venture, the founder of Desigual, and dozens of business angels and 1 different state grants. We are opening a seed round of €1 million next year, part already secured, and are looking forward to meet investors willing to share our journey. The market potential is huge. With your help, we can fight mood disorders and mental health pathologies during motherhood to improve the lives of millions of women, their children, and their families.
Thank you very much, Sven, for this pitch. The next startup Next startup is Proof, and they are offering a system to evaluate women's hormones. So yeah, please, the floor is yours.
Hi everyone, my name is Wana Garbi and I am Head of Partnerships for Proof. Proof is a tech-enabled diagnostic platform that tracks women's hormones accurately, non-invasively, in urine and at home. Our technology is FDA cleared. We are clinically validated and our tests and protocols are patented. We are a women-owned and women-run company, and we offer full-cycle testing together with the testing companion under the form of a free app with no other external devices required. Our flagship product is the PDG test, invented by our founder, Dr. Amy Beckley. Progesterone is essential for getting and staying pregnant. And unfortunately, the way we're testing progesterone these days, traditionally, once in blood after ovulation is considered by science to be non-diagnostic because of progesterone's pulsatile nature in blood, which is why a lot of ovulatory disorders remain undiagnosed and they get transformed into unexplained infertility cases. And today, the treatment for unexplained infertility is IVF. Next slide, please. The other one. Thank you. PDG is the urinary metabolite of progesterone, and it's a fantastic marker, and we love it, because it can not only confirm that ovulation has occurred, but it can also track the levels throughout the implantation window to make sure these levels stay high enough for long enough to ensure implantation and pregnancy. Which is why Proof Confirm is a powerful diagnostic method that allows women to receive important information about their health and their fertility. At Proof, we bridge a gap and we reduce the need for more invasive and more expensive fertility treatments. Thank you.
Thank you, Wana, for this speech. Next one is DELI. It's a medical device for early cancer detection. I think they're online. Yes, floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Well, hi everyone, nice to meet you. I'm Lisa Velarde. I'm the co-founder and CEO of DELI. We are a medical device company that created a blood test for early cancer detection and treatment monitoring through the isolation and analysis of circulating tumor cells. Circulating tumor cells are cells that come from the primary or metastatic solid tumor and then infiltrate into the bloodstream. If we can capture them, we can get all the information about the tumor just within the cells. We develop a technology that has the capability to isolate even a single circulating tumor cell in a whole blood. And also our technology have efficiencies over 96% comparison to other technologies available in the market that already have FDA approval. Our business model is to sell both devices and also the consumables. So every time that we got, they want to buy a test, they need to buy the consumables. The market is huge. We're talking about that only for research use only device that we are entering this market next year. It's 11.2 billion. And our plan is to later on continue with the FDA accreditation to get the market of 543 billion. We are a company that is backed by Y Combinator and StarXMed from Stanford. And can you, next slide, please. Thank you. And right now we have pre-orders worth a value of 2.5 million. And also we're starting this quarter, the next 2 pilots, one with Stanford Medical Center in US, California, and another one with Halo Diagnostics also in California. These 2 pilots with these 2 clients represent a sale of 1.25 million. Right now, we're raising 3 million in order for us to perform and continue with the sale of the technology. And right now, the test, we have been doing it with prostate and breast cancer. So we wanted to also broaden it to lung and colorectal cancer. We are certain that our technology will become the gold standard for CTC isolation and analysis technology. And with your help, we can help millions of lives around the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa, for this presentation. The next startup, Healthcare.The, is from the UK, and they are doing a digital health solution for the complete women's health journey.
Thank you very much.
Maybe take another one if this one doesn't work.
Check this one works?
Perfect.
Yes, it does. Hello, everybody. It's a great pleasure to be here in person to present Healthcare.The to you. So we are a solution for women's health for particular disease types like PCOS, endometriosis, and we're moving into menopause. Over 50% of these diseases go undiagnosed, and they're often only treated in a crisis. So, for instance, why do we only look after women with miscarriage after 2 or 3 miscarriages? Our solution is to monitor temperature incredibly accurately overnight throughout the complete reproductive cycle. The woman will then upload her temperature to our app, and they input their own events, so logs of various diagnoses and medications that they're taking. And then in conjunction with a clinician, they will then be able to diagnose and treat and personalize the particular woman's issue. We've helped over 40,000 women already with this solution and recorded over 235,000 reproductive cycles. And that's given us an incredible insight into women's health, things that we were talking about earlier. We didn't know what we didn't know before we saw this information. We've been able to patent and also publish clinically on this data. We have a Class 2 medical device recognition. We built a world-class team. We have 24-hour, 7-day-a-week support and already present in the United States, United Kingdom, and the rest of the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Oops, let's leave it here. All right, the next one is B-Rays from Switzerland, and you're doing an innovation for the detection of the breast cancer.
Thank you very much. Can you imagine something more frightening than an event that can cancel cities like Lausanne, Zurich, and Bern in one time of the map every year? Breast cancer kills more than 600,000 women in the world every year. And although we know that catching the cancer early is fundamental to save those lives, we are not early enough. At B-Rays, we are committed to saving women's lives with earlier, more accurate and personalized diagnostic of breast cancer. Our story started at the University Hospital of Zurich, where we developed a revolutionary AI technology which is able to catch the cancer on medical images at very early stage. Around this magical technology, we have built a digital platform, an end-to-end platform that walks along the journey of the patients at the side of the healthcare professionals. We started with a quality assurance immediately after the acquisition of the mammography in order to avoid recalls of the woman due to technical errors. We support the diagnosis with a second opinion, which was trained on the experience of hundreds of radiologists. And we formulate personalized treatment strategy, diagnostic strategies for the women, because we have heard more than once today that one size does not fit all. With the CE mark product, we are already on the market in the main breast center in Switzerland and Norway. More than 60,000 patients have been supported with our technology, which relies on a strong IP, on a patent technology, and on 8 scientific studies. We were able, within the context of a Tech4Eva program, to raise our Series A investment, and we will use the fund to scale commercially in Europe, in Germany, and in the other Swiss spots of Europe, and to get prepared to the North American market. At the moment, we are looking for strategic partnership with corporates and breast cancer centers to bring our technology to each woman everywhere. My name is Cristina Rossi. I'm CEO of B-Rays. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Last but not least, we have Aquafit from Israel, and they are doing an intimate gel for pain-free intimacy. I think you're online.
Okay,
Yes.
so welcome to Aquafit. It's actually a gel stick, which is quite different, and we'll talk about that in a moment. So first of all, Aquafit is in the space of intimate wellness self-care for women and by women. And this is important because many of the products designed for women's sexual health were not designed by women. And we started really with usability, as we all come to this company from design. And first, 40% of women, and some in menopause, probably 65% of women, complained about pain the last time they had sex. And painful sex is not talked about with caregivers, not talked about between women and their partners, and also crosses all ages. It's different when you're young. It's typically painful sex is because of involuntary muscle contraction of the vagina. Unfortunately, we're seeing that on the rise because young boys are being educated via porn, and they're a little bit overzealous in their first sexual encounter, which causes literally contraction. Women in their bloom after childbirth. Childbirth itself is also very traumatic for women's vaginal muscles. And also during breastfeeding, women are experiencing lower estrogen, and that leads to infections and dryness. And of course, the third category that you've heard of here as well today is menopausal women. Every healthy woman will spend 30 years of her life without estrogen from ages 50 and up. And less than 2% of all of the medical research goes to women under the age of 12 and over the age of 50. So because of this issue, there's a delayed path to diagnosis of 2 to 3 years. So we started with an interface that allows a woman to self-assess herself as a digital care space and under 3 minutes, understand her concerns, and for the first time hear and get a measure of her sexual pain and monitor it if she wants to continue with that. The second area of innovation is we developed a gel stick. A gel stick, much like it sounds, is a gel in a stick. It is an advanced hydrogel, which is patented. We have 2 patents on this, which really uniquely combines 3 things for women's sexual wellness and health. First thing is that it can be used in the shower or with a glass of water next to bed. And intimate training is first working our vaginal muscles because we're not taught very much that our vagina is a muscle. The second thing is it's delivering active agents to the vaginal wall. And the third thing is that it's balancing pH. And in 3 minutes a day, women can then maintain their intimate wellness, just like we now have oral health by brushing our teeth or diet for other things. We have 2 products on the market. The first is Aquafit Bio, which balances pH in a unique way. And the second is Aquafit Pre, which is uroloric acid and vitamin B for vaginal dryness. We received funding, government funding.
So I think there, me and Johannes will use our mean force with our mics, and we'll actually have to cut as the 2 minutes are over. But thank you very much for your presentation. I suggest we give a round of applause to all. So we are half time now in the startup pitches.
Exactly.
So we thought instead of just continuing with the other 7, we'll make a short and a quick panel here on stage with 4 different representatives that actually can tell us more. How have they experienced the program? What have they learned? Because that's really the core why we're here. So I would like to welcome up here on stage with us, again, Christina Rossi from B-Raise, Nadia Prisant from Ima Health. We have Rob Milnes from Bio Health Tech. And last but not least, we have Oana Garbi from Prove. So please come and join me and Johannes here on stage. And I will give you the microphones as well as... Perfect. Thank you all for being here. Who have made the longest journey so far today, like physically, who are not based in Switzerland?
I think that's definitely you that's made the longest journey.
I come from Israel.
Oh.
So, by the way of Greece, but that's another story.
Well, thank you so much for being here, for attending, and for sharing your knowledge. Maybe to start with, I would just like to ask you, like, what are the main key learnings? And I leave the floor open for anyone to answer, but what are the main key learnings from the program?
I think I'm only going first because we actually volunteered to do these individual questions first. So, one thing that's really powerful about this program is the international nature of it and the network. So we'd already taken part in accelerators before, but one of the key learnings here is femtech is genuinely global. It's genuinely a global issue, and the solutions have to come globally as well. And I think participating on this global nature has been great, and we've got to know each other very well as companies from, literally all around the world. There's been US companies we're dealing with as well, directly. So yeah, it's the power of the network, and long may it continue.
Question for you, Oana. What was the most useful benefit from the Tech4Eva program to your startup?
Definitely the entire program was extremely useful. This goes without saying. But for me personally, as a head of partnerships for a femtech company, what I have been struggling before was reaching out to corporates, and Tech4Eva actually helped us get in touch with corporate representatives by offering us access to a great pool of mentors. And I could see when Lan was presenting earlier and she was talking about the areas of impact that the cohort this year voted for this, access to corporates, as the second largest impact area. So I think I'm not alone in this.
For you, Christina, I mean, would you like to tell us a little bit more about the progress that you've been doing now the last year?
Yes, sure. I mean, first of all, I have to confirm what the other people said about the quality of the program. Was not only the opportunity to connect with corporates, investors, and mentors, but also the unique possibility of creating a network between entrepreneurs. For us, it was, in the last 9 months, it was a lot going on, and I think the program played a very important role because exactly in the time point where we were reaching out to investors, we have been accepted to this program, and this gave us a lot of visibility, and I think also reinforced the opinion of many of them, and so we were able to closing this round, and this is for us a huge opportunity to bring the company to the next level.
Congratulations for that. Question for you, Nadia. What advice could you give to the next startup that are maybe in the audience today or online?
Well, again, I'll do like all my colleagues and say that this program is really incredible from start to finish, mostly because finding like-minded people working on the femtech, that was the start for us to, actually we started reaching out to the femtech community in Israel as well, so that was also a very good incentive for us. In terms of what's going to happen next year, everybody's asking themselves the same. 2023 is shaping up to be a little more difficult than the year that came before. I would say that this program would be a very good opportunity to connect, to find other like-minded people, and to share in the difficulties and the joys. And for us, what was really, really important is to be able to have a safe space where we could ask any question and where we could go for advice. Even again for friendship. So yes, for the next cohort, I would say go for it, but be mindful of the time, the fact that it's a 9 months program, so it's a commitment. It took us a little while to get in the movement, but once you're in, it's like a powerhouse. So I highly recommend it.
Congratulations. Okay, thank you very much, all of you, for your insights.
Yeah, as you see, this panel is rather short, and that is because we will have this apéro starting at 4 sharp. So we are forced to wrap up here, but feel free. I mean, we will continue the conversation just on the other side of the curtain. So with that, I suggest we give a round hand of applause, and we move on to the last pitches. So for the next and the final block of the pitches, we do have these 7 startups. So country-wise, we have France, we have US, we have UK, we have Israel, we have Spain, and we have Switzerland. And we will start with Muna from France, that is offering the world's first cooling pillow pad. So Muna, the floor is yours. And here we have our first issue with the sound for today.
All right, sorry. I forgot to unmute myself. Hi, everyone. Thanks, Anna. So I'm David Stojkovic. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Muna. And today I want to talk to you about sleep. We have an epidemic of lack of sleep in the world, and it's affecting everyone. But in particular, temperature regulation issues are affecting 40% of adults. And in particular, women in menopause are affected, with 85% of them suffering from hot flashes and night sweats, which ruin their night's sleep. And current solutions are limited to daytime only or ineffective, which leads to a big $80 billion market in sleep aids per year alone, and set to grow a lot. And so we're building breakthrough technologies that actively improve sleep, and starting with women in menopause with great results on our first product. Can you go to the next slide, please? So we built the first smart cooling pillow pad, and we're just getting started. So our product is a thin membrane that goes inside the pillowcase, and whose temperature is regulated in a smart way at different times of the night, and it actually works. We've published great results at the World Sleep Congress this year, especially on women in menopause, with plus 35 minutes per night of effective sleep and plus 52% of sleep quality after just 10 nights of use. Our key metrics is that we've raised 1.5 million euros so far, shipped our first product to thousands of people worldwide, and made over 1 million euro in revenue. We've also collected 3.5 million hours of sleep data, which we've turned into a unique AI for recommendation of sleep. And the next steps are launching of Muna 2, our next generation device, but a new software product offering focused on women in menopause, made with sleep experts as well. And our vision within 5 years is to become a hybrid between a consumer solution and also a medical solution, which we're developing. So contact me on LinkedIn or meet us at the booth. Thanks, everyone. We're actually, last thing, we're raising 3 million euro right now. So contact us also if you're investing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Muna. Thank you, David. We're moving on to Israel, to Carmel Diagnostics, that is offering a solution to be able to pick the most viable embryo for IVF treatments. I see black screens. It's a tiny bit worrying, but I'll let the technical team work out, and I'm sure we'll soon have Carmel live.
6 or 7 couples in the fertility age suffer for infertility. For each one of them, this is the whole world, and they will do everything in order to have a baby. Can you imagine a solution that will help these people bring a baby home? There is a solution, IVF, in vitro fertilization, which brought millions of babies so far. However, the success rate is very poor. Here we come. I am Tzalik Naani, the CEO of Carmel Diagnostics, a company specialized in the IVF sector. We have developed and patented a system that substantially improves the success rate of the IVF process, saving money to the healthcare system, shorten the time, pain and cost to achieve pregnancy, and help the couples bringing a baby. By providing clinics with efficient embryo selection using oxidative stress as a biomarker. This non-invasive technology is innovative and disruptive in comparison to the state-of-the-art morphology. We conducted successful clinical studies testing hundreds of embryos, and the results have been published in leading magazines and in professional trade shows. We have an addressable market of $500 million through our pay-per-test business model. We have a dedicated, experienced team, and among our advisory board, there is a Nobel laureate. Our goal is to become the new standard of embryo viability assessment and get 10% of the world market in the 5th year of sales. Thus, we are looking for an investment of $4 million with an ROI of 3 years. We invite you to talk to us and meet us to have more details of our plans and explore this great opportunity.
Great, thank you very much. And we will keep the applause going for Samira and Pregnolia.
Badir, co-founder and CEO of Pregnolia. There is something special seeing one's work gaining shape and coming into the world as a medical device that improves lives of the others. This journey began as my doctoral research project, where I worked on the development of a new tool to assess the stiffness of the cervix. Like the knot of a balloon, the cervix is what keeps the baby safely inside the uterus throughout pregnancy. If the cervix fails, the baby is born prematurely. Yet, even today, most of the women that deliver preterm cannot be identified in advance. This has been and still is one of the biggest challenges in modern obstetrics. And like in many other areas of women's health, innovation in pregnancy care is advancing way too slow. This was my motivation and incentive to act. In 2016, I founded Pregnolia after completing my PhD work. There have been many obstacles on the way: forming a team, raising funds, navigating the highly regulated work of medical devices, obtaining clinical data in pregnancy, and selling our first products. And we are succeeding. The numerous prizes and awards are welcomed recognition. The trust of the investors fuel the growth of the business. But what truly motivates me is working with the medical teams and the pregnant women that are using our first generation product. Improving preterm birth detection is my main goal, but I also want to inspire our society to pay attention and to tackle problems in women's health. Pregnancy is one of the most impactful events in the life of a woman. And it's remarkable how much we still don't know about that event that generates every single human life.
Thank you very much, Sabrina. So we have 4 more pitches, and the next one are Pretel from US, which are offering an innovative way of monitoring the pregnancy. So I'll leave it to them.
Hello, my name is Mark Finch, CEO at Pretel, where we have discovered the underlying physiology and methodologies for monitoring preterm labor and efforts to prevent preterm delivery. In the United States alone, there's over 3 million emergency room visits per year where mothers are contracting long before their due date. The problem is neither the mother, the nurse, nor the current monitoring technology can distinguish between contractions of false labor from true labor. Our solution consists of an array of wearable sensors that provides all fetal monitoring vital signs in labor and delivery, but also determines whether or not patients are truly in labor or in false labor. In the United States alone, there's a $500 million market for the ability for diagnostic preterm labor monitoring. Pretel has also identified other opportunities to apply our platform technology. We've assembled an excellent team here to capitalize on this opportunity, including myself and our founder, Roger Young, Dr. Marinescu and Bridget Schulman acting as voice of customer, and Dr. David Adair representing venture investment. We are poised for success with these market revenue opportunities. We have working prototypes, feasibility data in hand, and issued IP in both the US and Europe. We look forward to bringing solutions that will provide savings and ROI to hospital systems, managed care, and national healthcare customers. We have successfully deployed our funds used to date to establish a proof of concept for all of our solutions. We are convertibilely taking subscriptions on a $1 million convertible note as part of a $6 million equity round to bring our first solution through FDA approval, CE mark, and go to market. Thank you for your time. I very much look forward to hearing from anybody who would like to partner with us. My information is on the screen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mark. So as you see, we take a few steps back in the timeline, and we were talking about pregnancy monitoring, but here when we have Imma Health, that more offer ovarian stimulation for the IVF. So I'm happy you found a mic that works, and I will, as always, be a bit mean with the time, but the floor is yours.
I'll do my best to stay on time. Hello, everyone. I'm very, very happy to be here. At Imma, we create a transvaginal ultrasound, the first automated transvaginal ultrasound from home, in the hand of non-expert users. It means in the hands of women. Her health in her hands, quite literally. So I'm Dr. Nadia Prison, Imma Chief Medical Officer. I'm a fertility specialist, but I'm also a fertility patient. I have two beautiful and moody teenagers to show for it. So what do we do? 50 million people, 50 million couples suffer from infertility. They will need medical help to conceive. And there is barriers, cost, distance, real-life obstacle on the patient side, but also a shortage of specialists, a shortage of trained ultrasound sonographer, and workflow that are overwhelmed by the treatment. All of this means that only 1 to 2% of the patient will actually go through IVF. Another number that I would like for you to remember is 5%. 5% of oocyte will eventually give rise to a live birth. All those obstacles need to be addressed, and there is a time now for an update in ovarian stimulation monitoring during IVF's process. Next step. Yeah. So what we do, we bring an ultrasound device, easy to manipulate, plug and play, associated with a software image processing and AI analysis of the image that will be in the hand of the patient. Every data will go to the cloud, be analyzed there, and then get back to the physician on any screen. And there is also an app to finish the circle so the patient and the physician can be in contact easily and often. So what we do, we increase the access to IVF, we unlock the IVF market, we ease the workflow of the clinics, we increase their revenue, we decrease the stress, and ultimately what everybody wants to do, we increase IVF success rate. We are at the stage of proof of concept. We are starting to validate in human and phantoms by the end of the year. We bootstrapped and raised a pre-seed round of $200,000. We're looking for our seed round starting next year, $5 million. Join us, invest in Imma.
Thank you very much. And we will move on to initiatives from Spain that are there to detect preterm birth. I'll leave the floor to you.
Good afternoon. This is Ruben Molina, CEO and co-founder of Initius. We are a startup based in the north of Spain, in Bilbao, and we are developing a medical device for a pathology called threatened preterm labor. And this is basically when a pregnant woman between 5 to 9 months of pregnancy starts feeling one day contractions and back pain, which are symptoms of being in labor prematurely. So she goes to emergencies, and there the doctor evaluates through the use of a biomarker if this pregnant woman is giving birth prematurely, and they need to treat her with corticoids and antibiotics, or this is what they call false threat. And in this case, they should not hospitalize her and not treat her because the drugs that they administrate to true preterm labor events induce some side effects to the baby and to the pregnant women. So what happens right now is that 95% of hospitalized pregnant women do not deliver within the following 7 days after the event. They get unnecessarily hospitalized and treated, and this makes a huge impact for the health of the million of pregnant women every year around the world, and also for the newborn babies. And so we have developed a portable point of care, which basically measure how soft is the cervical tissue of pregnant women, and putting this value inside an artificial intelligence algorithm, we are able to diagnose which of those pregnant women are delivering, which of those are not. And the patient is managed following the hospital protocols. So we are right now doing clinical evaluation in 7 sites here in Spain, and we plan to reach the market by the end of 2023 here in Spain as first, and after that we will go to the US. That's all. Thank you for your time. Hope you enjoy the video.
Thank you so much. So we are finally now at the last of our startups that better helps women to live in harmony with their physiology. So with that little intro, let me present you Wild AI.
Hi, everyone. Really great to be here. My name is Sahana, a founding member and the head of product at Wild AI, a fitness app that helps women train, fuel, and recover according to their specific physiology. At Wild AI, we're taking a female-first approach because, breaking news, women are not men. There are important physiological differences that need to be addressed to support women's health and well-being for the long term. Each woman goes through a lifetime full of changes, from their periods to going on birth control, through to menopause and beyond. But historically, this difference has been ignored, and it's been easier to create products just for one gender. Let me highlight a shocking stat. Only 6% of all sports science research is conducted exclusively in women. Yes, just 6%. As more women embrace fitness and sport as part of their lives, we must provide them with the means to understand and look after their bodies. But for years, women have been following guidance for men, and as a result, women use apps and wearables that are made for men. Which brings me to Wild AI. So you can choose to track specific symptoms and lifestyle variables that you typically experience. Second, you can pull in data from a number of fitness trackers and softwares, while then calculates the readiness score in a female context based on these inputs. So Wild helps you train as a woman. Next slide, please. We'll give you recommendations on what type of training you may be best suited to based on your physiology and your readiness level. We offer training plans created by coaching experts which are truly adaptive to menstrual cycles. And second, nutrition. When you do your training, we'll tell you exactly what to eat and how much to eat around your training based on your body weight as well as your life stage. And third, recovery. We don't believe that period pain is normal or that you can't perform at any stage of your cycle or your life. If you've got a symptom, Wild helps you recover by telling you how to mitigate these symptoms. We've created our technology with world-leading female exercise physiologist, Dr. Stacey Sims. Our team is made up of PhDs in AI and biomedical science and Olympic-level coaches. Our product is a solution for active women, serving an unmet need due to decades of male bias in science and research. And we believe in unlocking the true potential of the female body. Thank you.
So that was it, Johannes.
That was it. We had a great program with 14 pitches, so we hope you like to discover these 14 startups. There are also the 14 startups that we didn't present today, but you can also find them on the website Tech4Eva.
I mean, I would like to just thank each and every one of you, both here in the room and behind your screen, for just like we do, really care about women's health and want to bring progress. So we're here to close, we're here to wrap up, but we're also here to launch the new batch. So as of today, we are starting to welcome new applications for next year. So feel free to share any idea.
Also, the goal of Tech4Eva is also to create a community around the femtech. So please, you can attend all the events and the roadshows. You can have all the information on Tech4Eva.ch. You can use the hashtag Tech4Eva. Find us on our socials. And also, thank you to all the people joining us online. You can turn on the camera so we can have also a big picture with all your faces. That would be great. So if you can do like at the beginning, turning on the camera, say hi to the audience, that would be awesome. Please, everyone, I see that we have a lot of attendees here. Don't be shy, you can do it. Perfect. Thank you.
So yeah, before really wrapping up, before we are slowly introducing what's next, we would like to highlight that everyone that's been part of the program to join us on stage afterwards, and we'll make some group pictures.
Exactly, so all the mentors, the selected CEOs and alumni of the startup, of the program, you can come on stage so we have a group picture. Thank you and see you next time.
Thank you.